What is going on, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Today, we're going to be going over the dominant ranked gods for patch 10.6. This patch changed a lot. A lot of the top gods have changed. I'm going to give you guys 2 gods in each role to be dominating all your ranked games. First, we're going to be starting off in solo lane and working our way over to ADC. No surprise, probably the best god in the entire game right now, Raven. This god is absolutely obnoxious. They buffed his passive up to 9% of his max health after 8 instances of damages against enemies, if I worded that correctly, and 3% movement speed. So this god is getting 27% health and up to 9% movement speed with his passive fully stacked, which is basically perma-stacked in solo lane when you're just beating down on minions because you can't clear them and you just have to beat down on them. The build we got going for Raven, his starters are just super open right now. I think the bluestone that has percent health or current health is really good. I think both warding sigils can be good, although it's kind of weak early, so it's like the payoff isn't really there. Warrior's Axe is absolutely phenomenal into a Sundering Axe, and then Tainted Steel into either option if they have if they have healing and you need anti-heal. It's very, very strong. If you're playing against a physical jungle and a physical solo, go double physical defense. If you're playing against just a solo lane that's physical, a Glad Shield into Manticore, into the Contagion, Archdruid, Stone of Binding, Spirit Sword will work just fine. And if you're playing against a magical god that you're not worried about them killing you like a Sobek, Manticore Spike, so you can just spam abilities, is going to feel very, very nice. Make sure you have these 4 items. The last item, either Binding or Robe or Pridwin. Pridwin 100% should be somewhere in the build also, but a combination of these items will have you feeling great. Make sure you have Teleport, and then a little thing with Raven is you don't need Blink. If they have a lot of shields or if they have a lot of healing, Sunder and Cursed Ankh actually have a lot of value because you don't need to blink into the enemy backline. You'll just be super tanky when you ult in that you don't even need to blink in. You can just ult in and then just trade and fight and just one-shot and not be killable. This is the best god in the game right now. I'm not trolling. Best solo laner. If he's not banned, pick him. Next up for solo laners, Tyr. No surprise, this god is so dumb. Tyr is a god that probably needs beads and blink in nearly every game. There's probably some games where they don't have a ton of CC. The enemy team doesn't have a ton of CC where you can go blink and teleport. But I think most of the time, blink beads is what's going to feel the best. Starting with bluestone and going into bluestone brooch is usually your best option. And Manticore Spikes as your first. Breastplate of Regrowth, Relic Dagger, Wingblade, and then either Spirit Robe, Mantle, or Stone of Binding, or Pridwin. I don't know why I didn't add Pridwin into either of these builds, but they all work just fine, and you'll be absolutely dominating your ranked games with how mobile and how much damage and how safe Tyr is. No surprise in the #1 jungle spot, Kali. She is rocking a 58% win rate in all ranks. It is bonkers how much this god is winning. 58% is like release OP god high. Kali just does not take enough damage because of the nerf to enemy damage, so she's very hard to get one shot, and her damage is going to come online eventually. Her Kins or Oboe combo is going to do a lot of damage. Starting with Eye into Golden Blade, very, very common. Kin size, hasten katana so you can stick to your target, Kin so you can shred the tanks, serrated for a good amount of lifesteal, movement speed, and power, and pen, and then Odibo to just spread your damage throughout a team fight. This build will get you cooking. You'll be doing a lot of damage, and don't underestimate your early game damage. Just 1 kill on Kali pre 10 minutes, and it could just blow open your game, and you can just carry it from there. Next up in the jungle, Susano. Now, Susano is just super strong in the jungle because of how much mobility he provides and how good he is at getting onto the enemy carries. A blink into a full combo, you will one-shot, and you will have enough movement speed or movement abilities just to get out. Eye of the jungle into Protector, into Trans. That should be your start. Eye into Trans should always be your start. After is dependent. Do you have a lot of anti-heal? Maybe you need to go brawlers. Is it just a little bit of anti-heal or healing that they have? So you can go Hydras and then into brawlers. Just don't forget Eye, Trans, Heartseeker, Hydras should be in nearly all Susano builds. Crusher should almost always be in it too. And then if you need the anti-heal, need a little bit of survivability, need a little bit more pen, need a little bit more 1v5 potential. All options to be building. Blink beads on Susano and you'll be dominating. Next up in mid, the Witch of the Woods, or as I like to call her, the Baddie of the Woods, Baba Yaga. The Baddie of the Woods is absolutely busted. Probably another top 3 god right there with Raven, and there's probably another god, Kuzumbo, probably up there, who's, spoiler alert, one of the supports, because there's just no reason for me to put another support, but we'll get there eventually. Baba Yaga. Pendulum into Warlocks. Baba's passive allows her to stack really quickly. I think Warlocks is literally one of the best items in the game for mages, period. Baba also stacks it faster. The flat pen builds didn't make a ton of sense for me, even at Masters. I think Warlocks is super undervalued, and I think it'll be even stronger in your ranked games. I'm throwing Divine here just so mages don't forget. You might need Divine in nearly every game.
So don't forget about Divine.
But after that, if you don't need it Divine, just go into Prophetic, Coin, Reaver, or E-Staff into Reaver. If you do need Divine, you have to switch out one of these items, either E-Staff or Reaver. Personally, I'm really obsessed with E-Staff, and I would probably drop Reaver if I had to. But if you feel like the tanks are just running at you and you're not able to kill them, you might have to just go Reaver over E-Staff. And the Fat Man for the second mid slot. There's two ways to play Zhang, and I think the slightly better way is the one that comes online a little bit earlier. Vamp Shroud into Spear of Deso gives you that instant 1v5 potential in the early game. Your passive is giving you 120 protections early game and into late game, but early game 120 protections is insane. So Sack Shroud into Deso, Divine, Magus, Typhons, E-Staff. You have a lot of damage here. You've got good pen. E-Staff gives you that extra little bit of tankiness to kind of put you over the edge. If you feel like a game is going to go late going into it, or maybe you misclick and you start E-Staff on accident, just go Warlocks here into the rest of these items. Warlocks is better than Deso if you can get your Warlocks fully stacked. But Deso is kind of like that 1v5 item where if you're getting one kill, it gives you an opportunity to get a second kill and a third kill. And Zhang is going to be blinking into the back line and trying to do that. That's a quick thing I want to also add on to. Zhang with Blink and Beads, I think Blink Aegis can be fine if the enemy doesn't have a ton of CC. But with Blink Beads, he is rocking a 56% win rate. With Beads Aegis, it is down to 52%. The biggest difference is Zhang's who can get into the enemy backline and Zhang's who play front to back. It's not Zhang style. It's like playing Beads Aegis Hades. Build the Blink, try to get into the enemy backline. That's how you're going to be winning these games. Next, for supports, Kuzumbo. No surprise. Probably the second best god in the entire game. Absolutely obnoxious. I've already gone over his build, but I'll go over it again quickly. Sentinels, Binding, Spikes, Pridwin. I think Glad Shield is fine here. You could also go Contagion. Glad Shield just puts you at that 30% CDR, so the 500 pot puts you at 40%. And then Pesty if they have some healing. You can go really any items you want on this character. Just make sure you have Sentinels, Binding, Spikes, and Pridwin in nearly every game. This provides you a really good basis, and you can kind of build around it. You could even go like a Deso Mantle here or Deso something else, and then you're still going to be uber tanky. Though my one thing on Kuzumbo is please build Blink. It's another thing where a Kuzumbo with like Sunder Onk will still be strong, but he can't get onto the enemy's backline to apply that pressure and apply his anti-ADC kit. If you're playing front to back Kuzumbo, you're not playing Kuzumbo correctly. Build Blink and then build any of these relics. If they have a lot of healing, Onk. If they have a lot of like damage that they're not trying to hit you with and they're just trying to run away like Janice, Sunder makes a lot of sense. If they're trying to kill frontliners or kill you quickly, Thorns returns a lot of damage and allows you to kill them also. The second support was a little surprising. I was trying to figure out just a god do. Couldn't really come up with something, so I pulled up a stats. There's this new stats website called SMITEmaster.com. It actually pulls up all really useful information. You can go to Ranked Conquest, see what the highest win rate gods in the game are. Kali, like I said, sitting at 58% win rate. Absolutely insane. You can go to a specific rank tier like Grandmasters. Cupid's rocking a 100% win rate because he's only been picked one time. It's a lot of cool stuff that you can be doing. It's a really good tool to be using to see like what the high tier players are building. We can go click this, see, oh, what's Kali building? Oh, basically the entire build that I told you to go, except I did Serrated before Golden Blade. Or before Odibo. Geb has been dominating, and that's why I'm putting him in this. Honestly, it was surprising, but it makes a little bit of sense when I think about it, where Geb has a good amount of base damage and a good amount of damage that he can spread around an entire team. However, what I saw surprised me. I saw a lot of Blink Geb. It wasn't backline Geb, it was Blink Geb that's been dominating. So Sentinels, Thebes, Purdue Relic Dagger, Binding, Spirit's Robe. You can build kind of whatever you want as long as you have Embraced, Thebes, and Pridwin. But I think the Relic Dagger makes a lot of sense for Geb to just allow you to start those fights with a Blink ult. Sunder, Onk, Shell, whatever you need as your second Relic. Just make sure you have Blink and just be blinking into that backline, pulling relics, and putting a lot of damage onto them. And then lastly, ADCs. No surprise who number one is. Hachiman. The buffs he's gotten are absolutely huge. He is now in a very, very strong spot. He's going to be a BJ's character. I think the meta for ADCs has settled on devs being the better option a lot of the time. Deathtoll into devs, Xe, Dom. Surprisingly, a lot of pros are going Dom before Kins, and I think it's just because health isn't really getting online by this third item. And actually, this double pen works a lot more than this Kin size in the third slot. So Xe, Dominance, Kins, and then Odibo. And a lot of ADCs have been selling their Death Toll for Titan's Bane. Some have been going into either of the other two options. I think if you need a little bit more survivability, maybe Death's Embrace is a better option. I think Death's Temper is pretty mid, so I wouldn't recommend that one. But if you're getting Dove a lot, Death's Embrace could be really helpful. And then lastly for Hunters, no surprise, Marticarus. It's been 90 days and he's still dominating this game. The build has not really changed too much. Maybe if the last time you checked the build, it was Jotuns instead of Eater here. But Bluestone, Trans, Soul Eater, Crusher, Heartseeker, and Titan's Bane is the build. Nothing fancy. You're clearing waves. You're very hard to 1v1. You can turn 1v2s with how much you're getting from Soul Eater in terms of healing. I'm already dominating games. Keep playing him. Keep trying him. If you haven't tried him before, now is still a good time to be playing him because he dominates the game so hard. And that is it. That is 10 gods in total, 2 in every role that I think you guys should be playing to win your rank games. Is there anybody you guys think I left out? Any god that you're surprised I didn't include, or any build or anything that you guys need help with? Ask away in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.